Okay guys, so twin IPS 500, they're about 370 horsepower each. We've got electronic throttles just here. We've got the power assisted steering just here. This steering wheel is adjustable and the joystick is located just here. Super driver friendly style of boat, the Fjords, because you are centrally mounted with excellent visibility to all points on the boat. Next thing, because it's IPS, if you want to slide the boat in this way, slide the boat in that way, you can just use either hand and operate the joystick. You can also turn your body around, operate the joystick. I'm going to show you that later in the video when we get onto the Swan River. So let's just get the boat moving. I'll talk to you about some of the speeds. Alrighty, how beautiful is this water? It's just absolutely stunning. So I'll just take the boat through the motions and just talk to you about the experience. It's a big boat. If you're coming from a smaller day boat, don't expect the same sort of experience. You know, this is something that you could take, 15, 20 people on for the day. So you really do have that big boat vibes on one of these, as opposed to something a little bit smaller, perhaps with outboards. I've got my trim tabs just here. I've got them in the down position. I'm just going to get the boat up and moving. I'm doing 7 knots SOG, a little bit, actually closer to 8 at 1200 revs, and let's just get the thing moving. 17, 18, 1900 revs, 2000 revs, 2300 revs, rolling through 15 knots, 22,400 revs. I like to get it up to about almost 2,700, get the boat moving. There's 2.6 right there, and you can feel the thing planing at 17 plus. We're on 23 knots SOG right now, and I'm actually just going to give it a little bit of trim tab up. Got a little bit of ocean swell rolling from left to right, and that 23 knots is really, really comfortable. You could also cruise quite efficiently at around about 20 knots, but I want to get back to Perth because the wind's going to get up pretty soon. So yeah, just speeding the boat up a little bit, 2,700 to 2,800. You see the bow settle down a little bit at that 2,800. I've got almost full trim tab down, and that's giving me an SOG of 26 knots. 26 knots. Bear in mind, the hull is due for an anti-foul. It has been dived on, but we're going to lose a knot or two on this boat. So at that speed, I'm just going to take the boat through some gentle turns and just show you what the heel angle is like. So, as I was saying before, if you are used to a go fast outboard powered day boat, and let's face it, this is the logical step up from where you are, they're probably going to lean a little bit more into the turns. Whereas notice how, as I go through these turns on the Fjord, she's much more stable. Now, translate that stability into comfort for your guests, because that's what it is. So that's a really important thing worth paying attention to. It's just a comfortable boat to ride. You've got nice big sides. Everybody feels safe and secure because they're up and over the water. The great whites are down there, not up here, so happy days. Let's just speed the boat up and give you some wide open throttle, bearing in mind we won't get our maximum potential today. I'm just going to give the trim tabs a little bit of a trim up. Just settle the boat there a little bit. 31 knots, 32 knots, 3,200 revs, 3,250 revs. I've still got some trim tab down. I think I could get 34 knots, maybe 35 in optimal conditions out of this boat. So I'm quite comfortable at that speed. So you can get the excitement factor or you can be sensible. Let's just back the speed off. So just wrapping that up, you can cruise sensibly and comfortably in those mid-20s, 26, 27 knots. You can cruise fast at 30 to 32 knots, and in optimal conditions, this boat's going to be a 34 to 35 knot boat. She does like a little bit of trim tab down, just because of the design and the balance of this boat. And in terms of parking and pulling up and docking, you really can't beat, or it's very hard to beat, a Fjord 40. So keep watching and I'll explain that when we get onto the river. Okay guys, so we're back at the marina. One of the beautiful things about the joystick IPS parking is the joystick, so it makes your life a lot easier. So we've come down the river on the throttles. We've got a marina berth just down here, and what I'm going to do, I'm not actually going to park it, I'm just going to do a touch and go so you can get a feel for what it's all about. A little bit of wind now as opposed to when we were filming it before, but we should be okay. So I've just gone neutral on the throttles, docking on the joystick. I'm in normal mode, whereas we also have a high mode, and I'm just going to get the boat turning. Got a little bit of wind going from sort of left to right, my left to right. And as you can see, just by doing a little twist on the joystick, I can actually just turn the boat quite easily. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of forward pressure on the joystick and proceed into the marina. I'm just going to go pretty slow because we are in quite shallow water here, so I don't want to mix up or stir up too much mud. So I'm just going to align the boat. So all I'm doing is really gentle joystick movements here. There we go. So I've just aligned the boat with the direction that I'm happy with. Now I'm just going to do little presses. And you've got to remember with the IPS systems, unless you're, or the joysticks, unless you're actually putting pressure on the joystick and a turn left or right, the boat is just drifting. So if you are in essentially the central mode, or the center of the joystick, you're not actually doing anything. So I'm just going to get the boat turning because I've got a little bit of wind blowing me right now. And what I'll do, I'll actually demonstrate a bit of a side slip towards the marina berth. So here we are. In what looks like an awkward situation, but we can actually, utilising these joysticks, walk the boat sideways in a manner that does not look natural. So hopefully this is coming up on the camera, but I'm able to, in a rather controlled manner, walk the thing multiple boats in the direction that I want to travel. So you just imagine yourself, you've started a turn too early, or you're not exactly where you want it to be. This is how you can get yourself out of trouble and into the place you want to be. So here we go. I'm now slowly aligning myself up with the berth. Just got a little bit of wind affecting me there, so I'm just going to align the boat up again, go across a little bit more. So it's about here where I would put a laser focus on the marina berth that I'm entering. So my head's just going to essentially just going to look at the marina berth. So I'm just going to use that as my reference point, and we're just going to keep it nice and gentle, and I'm just going to back the boat in. So there you go, all nice and controlled. Okay, so we won't actually park it, we'll just do it a touch and go. And exiting again. So with a little bit of practice, this can, even with the more novice boaters, you can learn the operation of a joystick like this with relative ease. So I'm actually just going to turn the transom out because we've got shallow water on the land side. And I'm going to reverse out of here. So you really are just pointing the joystick in the direction of travel. You're keeping some pressure on the joystick to make sure the boat goes where you point it, because just bearing in mind when you're in the center position, the boat is drifting, it's not driving. And once you get the hang of that, you can then do things like spinning or spinning your body around and using other hands. So doing this or this relative to whatever part of the boat or dock you want to focus on. And it's all pretty straightforward. So picture yourself picking your friends up in an awkward or a difficult location, and then picture yourself not stuffing it up. Because let's face it, that's kind of important on a boat like this. So there you have it, guys. The Fjord 40 Open, that's the boat. If you think this is the style of boating for you, if you think you want this extra deck space, if you think you want the perfect Australianised day boat, give us a call. Follow the link coming up in the description below. Get in touch with us that way. We have made an extra video. Like all used boats, there are imperfections or things that could be improved. If you want access to that, just get in touch. We'll send it to you. We'll try to be as transparent as possible. The boat is located over here in Perth. We can organise shipping back to the eastern states or internationally. We can also facilitate face-to-face inspections on this boat through Mitch, who's helping us out on the ground here in Perth. So yeah, guys, follow the Boat Brokerage channel if you like this content. And if you found this on the Boat Life channel, thank you. Now you know what I do to fund this channel and keep it all going for you guys. Thanks very much. I'll see you on the next one.